Good evening. You're watching our special series, Newsmakers on NDTV. And joining me this evening is actor, politician Kamal Haasan, joining me from Chennai. Thanks very much for being on the show, sir. Tell us first, of course, Tamil Nadu, unfortunately, now is the second state to have crossed 1 lakh cases in India. Cases are rising there in a spike as well. You started a new initiative, Save Chennai. Why do you think this was needed at this time, and what went wrong in Chennai and Tamil Nadu?
I think lack of transparency and mismanagement. I think it's too late to talk about mismanagement. So we've all moved into managing the situation to the best of our capabilities as citizens, because this would have gone much better if the government had been keen on citizen participation. Some of the states who tried it have succeeded around the world and in India. So I don't know what was the reticence, but we're paying with human lives, and that's not acceptable.
The loss of human life is not acceptable. What do you think, Mr. Kamal Haasan, is the real issue? You said lack of people's participation, but we had seen that earlier Mumbai and then Delhi had a bad time with shortage of ICU beds, shortage of hospital beds. What do you think is the specific issue that people of Chennai are facing now as regards to medical care and hospitalization?
See, shortage of beds are going to be there because you're not prepared. They did not take control of private hospitals. The government could have done that, and they would have helped because of the good profile that it give their hospital post-COVID. So all would have been helpful. There are so many buildings, including my own building, that is our party building, was offered. It's not lakhs of square feet, but it is good enough. It has a lot of space, and I said anything for the government to use. And the only reply I get is they stick a COVID notice on my building. So that's all. I mean, it was a knee-jerk kind of reaction. But we can't blame them, because around the world, even during the Spanish flu or the plague, the governors of the cities have always come up with nothing is wrong. Who, me? No, everything is fine, kind of a thing. And so I think we've just stupidly repeated history.
And of course, at a time of a pandemic, we also realize that how little our politics actually focuses on health. In fact, luckily, Tamil Nadu's health infrastructure is much better than many other states of the country. Perhaps only Kerala rivals it. You have a very good local healthcare system in your state. Where is the lack of coordination that we're not seeing that health infrastructure really coming to the fore at this moment?
Yeah, when I spoke to the Kerala minister, the first envy the health minister, Madam Teacher, had was that you have a better infrastructure than Kerala. We envy you for that. And that's what we have done. We have extraordinary infrastructure, which we didn't put to use. Apathy.
It's actually, it's tragic. It's ironic to use words like apathy in a pandemic.
It's apathy because they thought it'll go away, or they were ill-informed and they didn't listen to the medical council. There were contraindicative statements from the government and the medical council. I mean, it was very confusing, and people thought it's really the attitude of the top echelon in the office made them believe that it's not as serious as the world seems to make of it. And the opening up of the taskmark was a grievous error. And the government dared do it. Not only that, they thought they were doing the right thing. But there was no communication, no dialogue with people with ear to the ground. And they never wanted citizen participation at all. And that would have helped, because I think now it is the citizens who will have to be more careful and take the responsibility of their shoulders and help the government, because it can't be done without the government. It's bravado for the government to say that we'll do it on our own, or people to say that it's too late to do it now. People need the government and the infrastructure. I think we'll have to shake hands, uh, sort of rub out all these parochial and political borders and work together for now. And then we can go back to criticisms and political
Of course.
politicization.
That's an important point, getting rid of parochial and political borders. Now, when we're looking at when the cases first came to India, the first case in Kerala at the end of January, we're seeing that it's almost a second wave, and South India is now seeing a rapid rise in cases of infections. Also at the same time, when lockdown 2.0 has opened up, India is opening up. How do you battle with both an economic epidemic that you have to open up for livelihoods and a health epidemic at the same time?
This COVID is not like a rainy season. It's going to be through the year with us. So we have to be prepared for it, and we'll have to resume work, but carefully. The government will have to seriously look at it as a pandemic, which is there, status quo ante. It's not gone away. The combat and the discussion is still on. So we have to be very careful, and resuming work also cannot be done in exasperation or enthusiasm.
Right. Of course, Mr. Kamal Haasan, in Tamil Nadu, tragically, for the past week, as the battle has been with Corona as well, it's also been on the brutal murders of a father and son, Jairaj and Phoenix, in police custody. Your party has actually gone to court about this because you feel this is not just about this one instance, it's a larger issue, it's an endemic issue, do you think, in Tamil Nadu?
No, we are not treating it as just, I mean, as a family. We are connected to the family, and we have seen the photographs, and we met the family. I've spoken to them, and it is our duty to fight for them, but it cannot be just limited to an individual case, because this excess and use of police as a private army has been going on for nearly 30, 35 years now, which slowly it's escalated. They're emboldened. It cannot be the clear signature of the police department itself, of the very few who's patronized by political superiors, which gives them the arrogance to go about treating human life so callously.
How has it got to this stage? Why do you think the rot has settled in so deep? I mean, we know that police reforms have been discussed for years. A Supreme Court order is there. Why have things become so bad in Tamil Nadu as more and more custodial deaths are, details of earlier custodial deaths are also coming out now?
Okay, they did it with the lotties. I'm talking about the time when they had scope-fitted guns and shot down young people in the same terrain, Thoothukudi. We've forgotten that. There were 13 people who were shot and killed. Many were injured. And it's nearly 2 years now. And it cannot fade off as a memory. And that's why Makkal Needhi Mayyam will knock at the courts and see that the reforms are in place, not only for Tamil Nadu, anywhere.
Why do you think
in the country.
Why do you think police reform is one thing which politicians have conveniently distanced themselves from over all these years? I mean, it couldn't function like this without political patronage.
It's a convenient private army to have, but then we are not dealing with narcotics. And now are we in a monarchy? This is a democracy, and that is why all the people will have to look at it, spend at least a little time on human rights and make their voice felt and feel for people. We have the feelings, but the too much load on us, too many wrong things going around in Tamil Nadu, we don't know which to attend first. The COVID or the excess, police excess, or apathy of the government and stuff like that.
You said, sir, that you spoke to the family. What was what was the one thing that moved you the most when you spoke to the family about these brutal deaths of their husband, their son, their brother?
They, well, I can't have a long discussion with bereaved people, so I will have to talk to them again, because I can't go into the gory details of what happened, and I mean, it's not going to help them compose themselves at all. So it was a very small conversation, but I promised them that we'll stand by them and we will make reforms, and my party people will keep visiting them and not to be worried. And we also congratulated that one police personnel who came out at the risk of a life to give evidence against their bad peers.
And of course, that a brave police person, a policewoman, actually came out to speak against this. I mean, that is one positive. That it's not that the whole force is corrupt, that one person has come out to speak against what is wrong.
Yes, and the people should have proper vigilance for a person who has decided to come out for the sake of justice and truth. So the onus is on us to take care of Revati ji.
Do you think, Mr. Kamal Haasan, that it's not just about, say, politics and police reforms? It's also about a larger toxic cocktail of caste. There's a caste element here as well. Power, the corruption that power brings, it has gone into a mix that has made this kind of violence almost acceptable, as we've seen so many cases of custodial violence have happened before this.
Yeah, because you let the law give a little rope in policing, honest policing. These kind of corruptions will interlace themselves into form a matrix, which will be later impenetrable. So this is the time, this is the turning point, and people are thinking about it seriously. We are. It's not about going to the streets alone. It's much more. We'll have to pursue this because it's about human rights and see that the reforms are brought in, not only for this government, for any government which was there or would be there. These should be the tenets with which they'll have to operate. Otherwise, nobody is safe.
Right. No, I think lasting reforms is the valid point that you're making. But just looking now at the broader picture, the last 6 months have been unprecedented in terms of in our lifetimes. What do you think will be the key changes in our society and in our politics as we go forward from here?
People's participation, the thinking populace should come into it. When I say thinking populace, please do not misunderstand it as the educated persons only. Even the common man thinks so sharply that you'll be astounded. And he's the one who will pull down the government just in the moment, just in time.
So you think
this is the time to think about it seriously. The time, if I use the word, it sounds pompous, but why not? It's a time for satyagraha again.
A satyagraha, as in, how would you describe the satyagraha?
I said it's a time for satyagraha, where people will have to reinstate and reintroduce the reason for a government that we have put in place is to serve the people, not vice versa. This is the time when we have to insist upon the system being that way, not the other way around. They are here to serve the people, and we'll have to insist upon it because that's the idea of our democracy and the republic. We cannot miss out the core point and talk about only rhetorics and clever argument.
That point you're making about clever arguments, in fact, our normal politics, or what we define as normal politics, is all about caste, community, religion, about issues we've seen matter so little at this time. We never actually, our politics never looks at how little India has invested in health.
I think constant vigil and introspection is needed by the government and by the people, instead of saying that it is Mera Bahat Mahan to hai. There's no doubt about that. But you'll have to keep checking whether you're keeping that level of Mahanta in position, whether you're keeping the greatness of your country in shape. Every department will have to keep introspecting and see that they are living up to at least the vision of our forefathers, if not now, today. The dreams are yet to be realized. And we have disregarded health, medical care so much. We cannot imitate superpowers and try to equal them in military. Our greatest strength is the human resource, and their health is of utmost importance, and any government will have to realize that.
Of course, our people as our greatest strength, as human resource. But in fact, Kamal Haasan, ironically, this virus is almost a unifier in the sense it doesn't look at caste, it doesn't look at religion, it doesn't look at how powerful you are, how rich or poor you are when it infects someone. So I think our response also, surely our politicians also have to look at response as being uniform, not depending on what class or caste you're from, in a sense.
Many have tried to infuse the idea of this, the leveling people, bringing them together. I think COVID has become the Mahaguru of teaching that, of empathy towards co-human beings. And I think it need not have been this case. We had many great thinkers who told us that. What the discussion that we've had is so old. These are ideas born before we were born.
Of course. But tell me, sir, how has it actually been for you? You're used to leading a very active life between films, between politics, between interacting with people all the time. What's it been like for you now, secluded, as it were, in a sense?
Oh, excellent. It changed my life. I thought I knew life as I knew it. But then it took me to another dimension altogether. And my commitment, I'm so glad I did what I did. And it's nothing to do with the position, party, chair, fame. They've been kind enough to give me fame since when I was a child. But this kind of direct contact and love, no media will give you. You'll have to go and meet them, and they meet you as a person. You're used to it because you come to them not as characters, but newscasters. Yes. But we are used to going and meeting them as various other characters. Now I meet them for what I am. And the fact, what is gratifying is that they accept me for what I am. And I'm so touched and so committed to them for that kindness.
We focus so far on the politics and the situation in Tamil Nadu, but of course, I know from our previous interviews that you're an avid political thinker, not just for politics of the state, but for politics of the country and globally. What would you say today as an Indian looking at where we are today in terms of fighting the corona outbreak and also amid a current tension with the India-China standoff currently at the Ladakh area?
Let me talk as a world citizen because it's not even pompous to say that because Gandhiji was one. And it's the idea of being a world citizen, caring for India and also caring for the world is something that's been done before. And I think the idea of settling disputes between countries through war is very old-fashioned and very costly. And I think diplomacy is the only way. Otherwise, the Mahabalipuram visit would go waste. We started a dialogue and we should go in that amicable way. And we must do something about it and reassess our diplomatic stand and make adjustments and proceed in that direction.
About the China situation, I think even superpowers have come to the conclusion that war is the oldest and the costliest way to settle disputes between countries. I think diplomacy is the best way to settle these issues. I'm not saying that that our army can be disregarded. I'm not totally a pacifist. But we are responsible for even one soldier's life lost. And if that could be saved through diplomacy, then we should indulge in diplomacy. Mm-hmm. And about the future governments, my insight into what should be politics, according to me, is that they should not come to power. They should come to serve. If that is the attitude of politicians, then I would truly have become the neo-politicalturist, to be part of the neo-politiculture. That's what I want to be. I want to come to serve and not come into power.
Will neo-politics...
And I want my peers to think that way too.
Will neo-politics actually come in? I hope that vision of yours does come true. But one word we hear talked about or discussed all the time is the new normal. What is the new normal for you now?
The new normal is absolutely working from home, because it's going to truly, what was only used for tax purposes by Indian, now we'll truly find Hindu undivided families, because they are made to live with each other, and some enjoy it, some don't. But I think it's also time to think about others in the normal course of life. Empathy towards others. Mm-hmm. That's come into people now. They're concerned now. They look out of their balconies and they're concerned for the dog in the street, the vendor, and they go down, climb those stairs and try to help them. This is something very heartwarming. Instead of border tensions, I thought existing tensions should disappear. I mean, this is a great leveler, as you said, and we should use this for a better life, better society.
Absolutely. Mr. Kamal Haasan, you referred once to the balcony class. So it's nice to see the balcony class actually coming down, and more empathy, I think, as you said, the real need at this time. Thank you so much for joining me on NDTV. It was great speaking to you. Thank you.